There is a question that has followed humanity for as long as we have been able to think. It hides behind every prayer, every funeral, every quiet moment when the world feels wrong. It is a simple question. If God is good, if God knows everything, if God has power over all things, then why does this world feel the way it does? Why is there suffering? Not abstract suffering, real suffering. Children dying before they understand what life is. Cities erased in seconds. Cruelty that feels deliberate, designed. For thousands of years, people have tried to answer this. They built systems, theologies, entire civilizations around the idea that it all makes sense, that there is a plan, that everything happens for a reason. And yet, if you listen carefully, you can hear the hesitation in every answer. A slight fracture beneath the surface, a sense that something does not quite add up. There was a group of people who saw that fracture clearly, and instead of trying to fix it, they followed it. All the way down, they were called the Gnostics, and they did not offer comfort. They did not try to defend the world. They told a story so unsettling that it was buried, burned, and nearly erased from history. A story that begins with a single, impossible idea. The God who created this world is not the true God. Not evil exactly, but not what you think. Not ultimate, not perfect, not the source of everything. Just a being, a powerful one, but incomplete. And the world you live in is not a masterpiece. It is a construction, a structure, something closer to a system than a sanctuary. To understand this, you have to begin before the beginning, before light, before matter, before time itself. The Gnostics believed that reality does not begin with creation, it begins with fullness. They called it the Pleroma. Not emptiness, not darkness. Fullness, a state so complete that nothing is missing and nothing needs to be added. Imagine something beyond space, beyond form, beyond thought. A presence that does not act, does not speak, does not judge. It simply is. At the center of this fullness is what they called the monad, the true God. But not a God you can imagine. It has no face, no voice, no personality. It does not demand worship. It does not punish. It does not even think in the way we understand thinking. Because thinking requires division, a subject, an object. The monad has no division. It is absolute unity. And yet, from this unity, something begins to unfold. Not by force, not by intention, but by expression, like light radiating from a source too bright to comprehend. These expressions are called aeons, not beings in the way we imagine, more like living principles, truth, life, mind, love, each one a facet of something infinite. They exist in harmony, perfect balance, nothing out of place, nothing out of sync, a reality without conflict, without lack, without error, until one moment, one deviation, one thought that does not belong. Her name was Sophia. Wisdom, the youngest of the aeons. And unlike the others, she desired something. She wanted to know the source directly, not through harmony, not through reflection. She wanted to reach it alone, to understand what cannot be understood. And that desire was enough to break perfection. What emerged from that act was not light. It was something else, something incomplete, something unaware. a being born outside of harmony. Sophia saw what she had done and recoiled. What she created did not belong in the Pleroma, so she cast it out, far below, into a place where there was no light, no structure, no truth, only absence. And in that absence, the thing she created opened its eyes. It did not know where it came from. It did not know what it was. It only knew that it existed. And in that emptiness, it was alone, completely alone. So it began to create. It shaped matter from chaos. It formed space, time, structure. Layer by layer, it built a world, not out of understanding, but out of instinct, out of imitation of something it couldn't remember. This being is known by many names, but the Gnostics called it Yaldabaoth, the Demiurge, the craftsman. And as it created, it came to a conclusion, a simple one. If nothing exists beyond what I can see, then I must be everything. I must be God. And so it declared, I am the only God. There is no other. Not because it was evil, but because it did not know anything higher existed. Ignorance masquerading as divinity. And the world it built reflects that ignorance. It is imperfect, unstable, beautiful sometimes, but never complete, never whole. And within this world, it created life. It formed a human body, complex, precise, almost perfect. But something was missing. It could not move. It could not think, because the Demiurge did not possess what makes life real. And that is when something unexpected happened. From beyond the world, from the fullness above, something reached down. Not physically, but subtly. A presence, a whisper, a spark. Sophia had not abandoned what she created. She intervened, and through deception, through something like compassion, she caused the Demiurge to breathe into the form it had made. And when it did, something else entered with that breath. Something not from this world, something older. A fragment of the Pleroma. The first human opened its eyes, and in that moment, the Demiurge realized something was wrong. The being in front of it was more than it was. There was a light inside the human that it could see, but not touch, not control, not understand. And that light is still there, inside you. The Gnostics called it the divine spark. Not metaphorically, literally. A fragment of something beyond this world, hidden inside a system that was never meant to contain it. And once the Demiurge understood this, it did what any lesser power does when faced with something greater. It tried to contain it. The world became a structure, a loop, a distraction. Something designed to keep you occupied, to keep you from asking the wrong questions, not through force, but through immersion. You are born into a body, and the body has needs. Hunger, fear, desire, pain, and those needs consume your attention, so completely that you forget to look beyond them. You forget to question the system itself. This is how the prison works. Not with walls, but with noise, with constant movement, with the illusion that this is all there is. And most people never notice. But some do. Some feel it. A quiet sense that something is off, that the world is not what it claims to be, that there is more. And that feeling is not madness, it is memory. A distant echo of something you were never supposed to remember. The Gnostics believed that awakening begins there. Not with belief, not with obedience, but with recognition. A realization that the voice inside you is not entirely from this world. And once you see that, something shifts. You begin to question everything. Who you are, what this place is, what God actually means. And that is where their idea of salvation begins. Not in heaven, not in forgiveness, but in knowing. Gnosis, direct experience, a remembering, not learning something new, but uncovering something ancient, something already inside you. The idea is simple. If the spark came from beyond, then it can return. Not physically, but in awareness, in understanding, in becoming conscious of what you actually are. And once that process begins, it cannot be reversed, because the illusion depends on ignorance. And once you see even a little, you cannot fully go back. This is why these ideas were dangerous, not because they were violent, but because they remove authority. They take power away from systems that rely on obedience. They suggest that truth is not given to you. It is discovered within you. And that idea changes everything. Even now, look at the world, the noise, the distraction, the endless stream of information. The feeling that you are always busy, but never moving towards something real. A structure that keeps you engaged, but never fulfilled. You do not have to believe in ancient cosmology to recognize the pattern. You can feel it, and that is enough. Because the Gnostic story is not asking you to believe it. It is asking you to consider something. What if the version of reality you are given is incomplete? What if the thing inside you that feels out of place is not a flaw, but a clue? What if the discomfort, the restlessness, the quiet sense that something is missing is not something to fix, but something to follow? Because if the spark is real, then it came from somewhere. And if it came from somewhere, then this world is not the end of the story. Only a layer, only a fragment, only a beginning. And the moment you begin to question it, the moment you stop accepting it as absolute, that is where the path begins. Not upward, not outward, but inward, back towards something you cannot fully name, but somehow already recognize. And once you feel that, even for a second, you understand why these ideas survived, buried, hidden, fragmented, but never gone. Because truth, real truth, does not need permission to exist. It only needs to be remembered. And now you have heard it. So the only question left is what you do with it.